I just came back from San Francisco. I call it the land of zombies or the city of zombies, where my first hour at 5 o'clock in the morning arriving on the flight, you see like hundreds of people on the street, all drugged out. I'm like, okay, what's a different version of San Francisco that I was thinking about? So it was a very interesting moment to have that as a first witness, I would say. But I would say, I mean, it's definitely like a lot bigger. And the reason why I'm saying is we were there to handle an acquisition basically. And so we were comparing the stories and we're trying to tell us how we were fundraising and how much effort it took. And like we had to do all these pitches and it was like, and this was for like 2.5 million. And I was talking to these people who also raised money. It's like, yeah, we kind of like raised 4 million in about 48 hours. And I was like, that would never happen. And they were first time founders, not like track record and big time founders. No, it was 4 million just out of, 48 hours. And I was like, that is just like, and this is why US is so much winning compared to Europe, because I was spending half of like, I was almost full time for 3 months fundraising while these guys just fundraised, got the money in the bank and they're off basically. Even now, for my fundraising, I need to open up a company in Portugal, which took already 2 months to receive the funds. And like that doesn't happen, that doesn't happen in the States. It's like you open up a Delaware corporation and one day you get the money, you run basically. And I think that's what Europe is doing in the wrong way right now. There's too much dispersion. There's too much like, okay, you're a different country, so we don't care kind of going on. And I think that's also why we're losing the AI race.
Yeah, actually, I was thinking, is it lack of capital, too much regulation, or a mentality thing that keeps us back? What do you think?
The
Or is
three,
it a combination?
the three. And I can give you examples on all three, basically. Lack of
Mhm.
capital, for sure, basically. If you look at the average ticket size, Europe and in America, it's almost to laugh with. Now, of course, Americans are a little bit more expensive, so I can get that. But every company that wants to scale up, they have to go to the States, basically. It's almost like a must, basically. And then mentality is a very funny one because I have an insight on that from a BetterPic insight. If you look at the refund rate, we have the exact same product. BetterPic, Belgium and Europe is the exact same as USA. We have the exact same product. And the funny thing about this is we have a refund rate in the States, which is 2 times lower than in Europe, 2 times. And I'm
Yeah.
like, why is this? Like, it's the exact same thing. We have all of the volume, 85% of the volume is coming from the States, 15 is coming from Europe. Why is that? And this is really a mentality problem in that sense. We wait until something is perfect, whereas in the States, good enough, I'll accept it
Yeah.
and I'll continue basically. And I think that's a very interesting thing, what is happening on the mentality level and why we're a little bit lacking behind. And then compliance is the fun part because we we don't create AI, except a few exceptions like Mistral, which is in France, but that's about it. We don't really create AI. All the
Yeah.
AI is created outside of Europe, but we're the best at regulating it. We're really thinking about
So
regulations, but we're not even building it. So it's a very funny way to like look at it. It's like, okay, you're building it. We're going to protect ourselves, but we're actually not creating any value because we're protecting ourselves. So it's just crazy what is happening right now in Europe.
yeah, absolutely. I see there is this optimism about Europe, and it should be because, startups are getting more traction, more funding, more headlines. But what you just mentioned is so important that in the end of the day, majority of these companies rely on American infrastructure and not in European one. And in the majority of the times in US customer base as well, because they are more willing to try something new and check it out if it works okay, if it doesn't. But Europe is very stingy with where they put their money on.
Exactly. Our company is not in Europe. Our company is in the States for that simple reason. We wanted to try opening a company in Belgium and in the States. In the States, it was 24 hours. In Belgium, it took me 3 weeks. I had to make a business plan. I had to translate the business plan into Dutch because they wouldn't accept an English business plan. I had to get a notary to sign off the business plan, and then they would start the company. And then I had to go to the bank to open up and deposit €1 in order to open up a bank account and get and start the company basically. I'm like, that's the comparison we're playing with. And this is not happening on one level, that's happening on every single level, basically. And I think that's what sometimes frustrates me about Europe in that sense. But, I'm still living here. I'm still positive about it. But I can see the flaws.
Do you see the willingness to change? Not if it's going to happen, but do people want to change?
I mean, everybody wants, there's always a
In a
1% wants to change.
regulatory level.
I mean, I can't speak for that because that's not my my field of expertise. Let's put it that way. Do I want it to change? Yes. Do I know they're busy with it, with the Ink? Yes. Do I want it to succeed? Absolutely. But it's a mentality problem. The mentality problem is very hard to get out, I would say. Even now, like if you look at UK, they're trying to tax the billionaires. The Revolut guy is leaving to United Arabs. That's for a reason. We're very good at regulating. We're very bad at creating.
Yeah, true. So taking a step back from AI, what are some industries you think that are not getting enough spotlight at the moment and are growing or have the potential to grow? I mean, apart from AI, we see defense or we see renewable energy. Do you have any specific field that you see is really gaining traction lately? Because everyone is talking about AI now and
yeah, I think where the money is going to shift to, and I can see that from an investor's point of view as well, they're shifting to deep tech. And the reason is very simple, is that the cost of building has decreased immensely over the years. So what you needed 2 million for back in the days, you could probably do it with 200K right now. And I think that's a very interesting thing what's happening. But it's a very tricky play for investors that rely on putting investment and then growing and then putting more investment and going to the ABC basically. And so you can mostly see that there's a lot of shift happening towards deep tech, robotics, and all of that stuff because you need cash. It's a cash capital thing. So I can see a lot of money flowing into that area and less into AI and SaaS in that sense.